Because remember the parable with who the world calls Jesus Christ, how he gave those talents to those different servants. I'll see if I can find it. But if like, for example, if who the world calls Jesus Christ, right? Yahweh Shai is like me, you, and another guy. He gives us all 3 talents or 3 gold coins. And we go out to the world and we bring him back. I bring him back 6 talents. So I just doubled the money he gave me. And you bring back 9 talents. You just tripled it, right? This guy brings back the same 3 coins, right? That dude, he took this knowledge and he didn't multiply on it. See, he didn't increase on it. But me and you, we did. So he was a non-profitable servant. When you learn this stuff, you want to become a profitable servant. See, you want to be useful. You know, just like if you're at a job and you're not making that business any money, they're gonna fire you, right? Same thing with the scriptures. That's why I'm out here teaching. I'm trying to be a profitable servant, right? Now, a lot of people will listen, a lot of people won't listen. But the elect that the Most High has ordained to listen and to increase, those men will listen, right? Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, since I mentioned it earlier, this is Matthew 15:9. But in vain they do worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. You know, and that's what they do in church. Because in churches, a lot of them have this image of it.
You know? I mean, I used to go to church, but I started going to church because I wasn't getting nothing but lies and going in my pocket, you know, paying tithes. So
all they want is your money, man.
I wasn't getting no good information, you know, out of the Bible. So I stopped going to churches because it seemed like it was like a waste of time.
It is, because these churches, man, are infiltrated by a so-called white man, and they're not trying to let our people find out this information. Because what I'm doing right now, there's groups of brothers doing this all over the country and in other countries. But you never see this on TV. Because the so-called white man has control over the media. He's not trying to let this information get out. The only time he want to do something about this is if, for example, you heard the guy Anton. The only time they want to mention something like this is when it's like a scandal or like it has to do with somebody being a homosexual, right? Because this dude Anton Dodson is a homosexual. And he found out that he's an Israelite according to the Bible, and now all of a sudden they want to do a story on him, right? Because it's a homosexual, and they're trying to equate homosexuality with this. You know what I'm saying? The so-called white nation is a race of devils, and when people they get when they visualize the devil, they think of something red with horns with a pitchfork. But the word devil means deceiver, and that's exactly what they do. Deceive. Let's see. Here's another good one. This is Matthew 7:21. Not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven. Now another scripture say, he that calleth upon me, I can't quote it right now, but I think you know what I'm talking about. People say anyone that call upon the Lord shall be saved, and stuff like that, right? Right here it says, not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of the Father which is in heaven. So, the will of the Father is doing the work, teaching our people the truth.
Yeah.
And not being up in these buildings just on Sunday, maybe Saturday, or whatever, teaching lies, right? You gotta come out to where the people are.
So, like pagan days, like follow like Sunday, like a Sunday worship, is something like a pagan day. No,
well, Sunday is the day where they worship the sun.
Yeah.
You know, and during the Council of Nicaea, which is the Israelites, you know about the Council of Nicaea?
I never heard of it.
Well, this is a group of Israelites who got together. They were, I believe they were Moors, which Moors are Israelites. They're just, the Moors ruled Europe and England for 1,000 years in the Dark Ages. That's why it's called the Dark Ages.
Yeah.
But they like to say that it was white people ruling there. The first time a white person got on the throne was after Queen Victoria. Queen Victoria was an Israelite, black woman. She married into a white family, and then they started coming into, So that's how they got into that over there. They're not real royal blood. No. There's no royalty from the nation of Israel. The only royal blood on the planet are these people. Because Israel means Yasha Arla means Prince Power. Yeah, we're the Prince of the Power. The power is the Most High, which his name is Yahweh. So we're Prince of God. No other nation on the planet is a Prince of God. And even in the sports, when you compete, you try to aim for the person that's at the top.
Yeah.
That's how come all these other nations aimed at us. King David, King Solomon, all those guys, which those two were Judites, from the tribe of Judah. Those are
all they biblical histories and movies based.
All those anything that had to do with the Bible should have been an all-black cast.
Black, okay.
Even the Spanish tribes, Latino tribes, Mexicans, were dark skinned and fast.
Because I remember this part in the Ten Commandments when what's his name? Played that movie. He died though.
You talking about the old Ten Commandments?
Yeah. When the Bible scripture said. It's a part that said, put your hand in your bosom.
Yeah.
And they didn't never show that part in the movie. So why would they clarify that part in the movie? I mean, they clarify everything else about it.
Yep. Hey,
and his hand changed to leprosy.
Yeah, the white as snow.
Yeah, and then he put his hand back and his hand came back to his
other flesh.
Yeah.
And so that goes to show you that if they leave points out like that, they know that these people are black. You know what I'm saying? And you seen the series of the Bible that they showed recently on the History Channel?
No, I ain't never get a chance to see that.
Yeah, they basically all the every person that they did, King David and so on, were so-called white people that they had playing those parts. But when they got to Samson, they had him played by a black man. Because in the scriptures, Samson had locks, right?
Yeah.
He had braids. So they had no choice but to place a black man for that, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, Samson was from the tribe of Dan, which was one of the tribes of Israelites who was replaced.
Oh yeah, Dan was done away with.
Yeah, he was replaced. Dan and Joseph were replaced by Ephraim and Manasseh.
What?
Yeah. Manasseh, Ephraim and Manasseh. Because Dan was it was 12, right? Joseph had two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, so those two took the place of Dan and Joseph. A lot of Mormons like to say they're from the tribe of Joseph, but they're not. You know, but yeah, so, and another reason why they probably put a black man's Dan is because the tribe of Dan was replaced. So they can say that, well, the tribe of Dan was black, but now the tribe of Dan is no longer part of the Israelites. So all the rest are white. See how they try to do that?
Yeah.
So you're not. You see, if people see this image, especially the so-called black women, they see this image and they feel disgusted because so-called black women, whether they want to acknowledge it consciously or not, this image right here, they believe in this image. They don't believe in them as the truth because this right here sounds. Because this guy right here, gives benefits to it. You know.
Where they programmed to like this image, because I mean that's the only image that we knew.
I used to think, I grew up seeing this image too, thinking that he was white. You know, God must be white too then.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But where did they get this shit from? And then another thing is these churches, they push out a homosexual vibe in churches too because mainly the 9 out of 10 times the preacher is homosexual. Yeah. Below. You know, he may have a wife, but he's into little boys too.
Yeah, like it alone.
You know? So it's just a front. You know, because just because you have a wife don't mean anything.
Don't mean anything.
Because Jay-Z, Kanye West, they deal with women, but they're homosexuals too.
Yeah.
Because in order to, when they sell their soul in the music industry to get benefits from the so-called white man, the Jewish rats.
And you can tell too a little bit because they got a little feminine style in it.
See the way Kanye dressed now?
Yeah.
Wearing skirts and shit.
Yeah.
And so they have to engage in homosexual activity.
Wow.
Because in the Illuminati, if you want to be a part of the Illuminati, they gotta have something on you. So if you ever try to expose them, they can blackmail you.
Wow.
You know, so they can have leverage on you.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna read this. This is the description of who the world calls Jesus Christ. Revelations 1, I'm gonna start at 13. In the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, and a girt above the paps with a golden girdle, and his head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow. So the hairs on his head and his beard were white like wool. Let's see. All right. In his eyes was a flame of fire. So he had like reddish eyes, like really brown reddish eyes.
Yeah.
And they just turned on me. And his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burnt in a furnace. So he had dark skin because brass is already brown.
Yeah.
But if you take brass and you burn it in a furnace, it turns black. And his voice the sound of many waters, meaning he had a deep voice. Now, what these so-called churches are trying to do now, because what they do is they go back to their masters, which a lot of these pastors are low-level witches and stuff.
Yeah.
So they go back to their masters, which is so-called white men, and they be like, what do I do about when they ask me about Revelation and the scripture of Jesus Christ? I'll just tell them that's parabolic.
Wow.
You know, so now our people, because I heard people say, when I read this before, they were like, well, that's parabolic. That's not, it's not saying his feet was brown. His skin was actually dark skin. That's just parabolic for how much wisdom he had or something, right?
Yeah.
Something crazy. So I'm like, okay, you take that as being parabolic. Why do you take when it mentions hell so little?
They read, I was watching the movie Malcolm X, and he said the same scriptures that you wrote about what color
Revelations
Christ was. That was powerful. I see Hollywood try to give us a little bit of the truth too.
A little bit.
Hollywood, yeah.
But they mingle it in with lies.
You really think that
I told you they be saying that about Obama.
Can I say that?
Hey, what's your question though? What's your question?
I like that picture of the president. You really believe that's true?
Well, are you African?
I'm of African descent, definitely.
I mean, but you consider African American?
Yeah, definitely.
I'm gonna read this and then I'm gonna answer your question because then you'll have a better understanding of what I'm about to say. All right. Ham, the youngest son of Noah, born probably 96 years before the flood, and one of the 8 persons to live through the flood, he became the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes, but the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites. So are you of African descent?
Yeah.
So you're not a Negro.
Oh.
Because the Ham, the progenitor of the dark races, but not the Negroes.
Oh.
See? So the Negroes and the Africans are 2 different races of people, just like the Chinese and the Japanese.
Oh.
Now, who told us we were Africans?
Well,
Our oppressors. That's where you got it from originally.
well, we know through slavery, we know that a lot of our people was enslaved for a long time, and that our roots come from Africa because they brought us over here on boats.
Okay.
And bred with us and enslaved us. That's how we ended up here.
Okay, and in this book right here, it tells you how we got into Africa. I'm gonna see if I can find the page, if you got time.
All the human race started in Africa.
That's
everybody.
The Bible doesn't say that. Because the Bible, when Adam and Eve were created, they were placed in the Garden of Eden, right?
What about Lilith?
Lilith? What about her?
What about her? Exactly.
You brought her up. But did she come before Adam and Eve? No,
She was made with Adam out of dirt. Adam and Lilith was both made from dirt.
Where is that at?
The Dead Sea Scrolls.
Dead Sea Scrolls? Now, who first of all, that's not true. Just like
Everybody believe the old thing. To me, Lilith was Adam's first wife. Eve is his second wife.
So basically, you're saying Barack Obama is basically like
I got a problem
Antichrist?
that's not in the Bible.
You think he's like the devil or he's like the Antichrist?
Well, I'm gonna read this real quick and I'm gonna get to your question.
Lilith is not a woman. She's the
I'll get
first
to you
female,
too.
though.
I'll get to this. I'll get to that. During the period from Pompey to Julius, it has been established that over 1 million Jews fled into Africa, fleeing Roman persecution and slavery. The slave markets were full of black Jewish slaves. That's how come we were in Africa. Because we was in Jerusalem, but we fled into Africa to hide amongst other dark-skinned people to flee Roman persecution. So we're not Africans. We originally were from Jerusalem. See? So before we was in Africa, we was in Jerusalem. We were just hiding in Africa. Just like if you left Texas and you were born and raised in Texas to hide in Mexico, that make you Mexican?
No.
You're from Texas, right?
Right.
So the same thing with us. We're Israelites. We were just hiding in Africa to flee Roman persecution.
But how do you know if you was really Jewish or maybe you was African? How do you know?
It's according to your father's lineage and according to the spirit.
Actually, he's right. If you're not native from here, you're not really African.
Just like we're not African American.
I'm talking about, okay, when my ancestors came over on the boat,
the thing
how do
about it,
I
the
know
only
if my
reason why
ancestors
I'm really
was
like,
the ones
that's
that
like
was
a shock to
hiding
me,
or the ones that was
because
already dead?
I like respect the president, and like I don't know what he did that's like bad, but that's not the first time I've seen somebody try to portray him as the devil. But I really don't, in my belief, I really don't think that he is the devil, but I think he's a victim. I think he's a victim of what George Bush and Dick Cheney did before him, and he's trying the best he can to try to make it right, but it's being made to look like he's wrong.
Okay. I got what you're saying. I got what you're saying.
Because he do have color in his skin, just like you got color in your skin. I got color in my skin, and he got a black woman next to him. They don't want to see him do anything that's going to make him look good. They want to see Obama look like the worst president ever, but they can't do that. Because he's already been elected for the second time, so he's already looking good.
They found a way to turn black people against him with the religion.
Well, whether they make him look like the worst president ever, that doesn't really concern them, because he's in office just to keep progression of what they already have in plan. Like when George Bush was in office,
that's basically
in his last term, his last 4 years, he had set bills in place, right? When this guy came in office, those bills that George Bush had in place he went ahead and passed it. Now if they come with a whole nother agenda, George Bush had his own agenda.